I feel like I'm the luckiest person alive. I get to have somebody back on the show that is just pure joy and deliciousness. In fact, that's her name, Joyel. Joyel, please introduce yourself to the audience for those who missed the other episode.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joyel Crawford, and I'm the CEO and founder of Crawford Leadership Strategies, where we provide leadership consulting, keynotes, and hybrid solutions to provide your organization with the tools, knowledge, and skills to rise and thrive in the global workplace.
And we all need that, my friend, to rise and thrive. So I'll explain to the audience and the listeners out there, I brought Joyel back because the best conversations happen when we're not recording. And this one I wanted to bring back for everybody to listen. And I remember when you said to me, Francesca, I have an office flip-flop story of my own. I said, well, then we need to bring you back. For those of you who missed it, I'll put a link in the show notes. My last episode with Joyel, we talked about her TED Talk and her book and her journey, an incredible mission that she is working on now. But like I said, we have an office flip-flop story. So let's unpack that story, Joyel, because I think it is so great for people to hear.
Well, Francesca, I came up through corporate America. I spent 18 years in corporate America, working in telecom, and started in customer service, moved into human resources, and ultimately into my dream role of being a training consultant. And that meant I got to facilitate with various leaders in the organization. And in this particular situation, I was facilitating a course. And for some reason, it was like almost like a board game kind of thing. And I had worn a top that I'd gotten many, many compliments on in the past. But the game involved me, for some reason, having to like bend over and kind of pick things up off the floor. And the course went well, everything was great. And then, I got back to the office and got word that there was a lot of feedback about my wardrobe and that it was inappropriate. And I was thinking to myself, I interacted with various people and nobody said, hey, your shirt's too low cut, or maybe do you have a sweater, or here's a sweater or something. No one gave me any indication that it was a distraction.
Right.
And I learned that so many people, the males in the class, were looking down my shirt and talking about it. And the women in the class were upset that they were talking about it. So I guess I was the object of inappropriate conversations in the workplace, but it wasn't intentional. I didn't wear the shirt to be the subject or object of inappropriate conversations in the workplace. And I was a little bit disturbed by the fact that no woman came up to me and said, hey, honey, your shirt's a little low cut. Do you have anything else that you might want to wear? Or, something, help a sister out. What ended up happening was that the feedback, I guess, jarred my supervisor so strongly that he wrote me up.
Oh my gosh.
For
like it went in your record?
Like in the permanent record, like the permanent record that,
that yucky. Yeah.
And it was mortifying because I had worked in equal employment and equal employment and opportunity in affirmative action. I've worked in that department and employee relations. I had seen, where complaints and people getting written up for dress code infractions. I was the kind of person that always told people, when in doubt, don't wear it out. And I just couldn't understand it. I can't believe it. I got written up for it. I was devastated.
Well, it is devastating. And you bring up, so many good points and I've actually worked with organizations in delivering a message to the female group because the male CEO felt comfortable talking with the males, which was great. But the female executives didn't feel comfortable talking with the females. So they brought me in to have the dress code conversation. So what is it? Perhaps, Joyel, maybe we're starting something here in in communication, because I hear
Mhm.
you, like, why, as a friend or colleague or
Yeah,
whatever,
just fellow female.
fellow
Like,
female, like, hey, I just want to let you know that when you bend over, the girls are hanging out. So
yeah,
let's because it's distracting. Like, that's the thing. And I love that you said, when in doubt, don't wear it out. I've been saying that for like 15 years, like ever since I created my presentation. Yes, if there's like a second thought, like put it back in the closet,
absolutely.
like just put that hanger back.
Yeah.
So you share so many great insights, and that's the confusion to me as well. So my female listeners, let's band together and help each other out, because obviously you'd worn this top before,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And I worked in headquarters. I
And
mean,
you worked
so
at
of all the
headquarters.
places to, you know, heads of departments were like, nice top, and I was just like, thank you. Now kind of like in my back of my mind, I'm like, well, was it a nice top because, I was showing too much or what have you, but no one said anything. And because my supervisor was male, God bless him, I guess he felt uncomfortable, but
Right.
I think the punishment didn't fit the crime, so to speak. I think it could have just been a simple conversation. And actually, after the whole, corrective action was administered, I talked to him. I said, why didn't you just tell me?
Right.
And I just didn't know what to do. And I said,
Mm.
this is a written corrective action is something you would take if there were multiple warnings or infractions to
Yep.
take to get to that point. And
Yep.
they just jumped right to written. And I think it was because of who was in the classroom at the time. There were some very connected to leadership, other levels of leadership in the room. And I think that was why they did it, but I just didn't think that it was an appropriate step for corrective action.
Right.
So there were a lot of lessons I learned from that if I see somebody who's not wearing something appropriately, that I would pull them aside and talk to them first. I'm the type of person that tells someone they have spinach in their teeth. Well, this is
Sure.
just spinach in their teeth. So,
Right.
and I also learned as a leader, you've got to have some uncomfortable conversations sometimes,
Right.
whether it's dress code or dandruff, you've got to talk about how that's negatively impacting performance. How did that
That's right.
negatively impact my performance?
Right.
It was distracting, so people couldn't concentrate. I guess that's the tie back, but that wasn't articulated, and I just left stunned and confused and kind of betrayed a little bit. So
Sure.
those were all those things that I never wanted anyone else to feel.
Right. So this is a step forward, I think, for all of us who are listening, for all of us who could have the opportunity to help somebody out in the future, right? There are a lot of tops out there that are lower cut, but there are ways to work around it too.
Mhm.
But for it, and also I've seen it in the Zoom room. I don't know if you have, Joyelle, but we have to make sure our cameras are positioned well.
Yes,
And also we have to be cognizant of what we're wearing virtually as
yes,
well. So I think that's part of the message. And then if anything, yes, approach this with kindness. And they could use this podcast as an example. It's like, hey, I heard about this woman. She had this situation happen to her, and I wouldn't want it to happen to you. Like, hey, and then you pre-qualify the conversation. You say, you know what, this is awkward, but I heard about it on a podcast, and I know someone who's experienced it. And your top might be a little distracting, because that's
right,
ultimately the word, right?
right,
It's just a distraction to males and to females.
right. And
And
to the
that's what,
work that you're doing,
and to the
like I
work.
had no idea that because I'm going to toot my own horn. I'm a fabulous facilitator. So it was upsetting to me to know that people were focused more on what my outward
Yes.
appearance was instead of what I was saying and trying to get them to connect and learn in the classroom. So that was a lesson learned. I still have that shirt. I call it the boob gate shirt.
That's hilarious. All right. Well, when we get together, I'm gonna have to see it in person, because yes, it has so much information behind it now. I can't wait to meet the shirt. But I think we can help not just young professionals, but all professional women out there to like just be cognizant of the
Yes.
distraction and how it does impact performance, and
Yes.
how, you know, having the initial awkward conversation so that that person doesn't feel betrayed, right? That's
Right.
what this is, kind of like a pay it forward
Yes.
episode, if you will,
Yeah.
in just supporting one another, and as a woman, you
Yes.
know, in our success,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah. So, you know, you had the opportunity to answer a previous question, but you, the lucky one, you get to have a second answer to the question is, what is your favorite piece of clothing or accessory and how does it make you
Mm.
feel? So what would be number two? Number one on the list for those of you who didn't have a chance to listen to my first interview was her beautiful earrings. So if you had a second option, Joyelle, what would you go with?
My second accessory or piece of clothing. I don't necessarily have a piece of clothing. I would say my second accessory would be my smile.
That's such a beautiful answer, and that you do have an incredible smile. It's infectious. So good answer. Round of applause, because it's infectious. It just shows pure love and authenticity. And I love that. What an incredible answer. Joyelle, if someone wanted to reach out to you and to work with you, to continue the conversation, where's the best place for them to find you?
The best place to find me, Francesca, and the audience, I can be found on my website, which is www.crawfordleadership.com. And that's where you can find all kinds of stuff. You can book me, you can learn more information about the services that my business provides, and you can even buy my book.
Yes, buy her book. Absolutely, what she has done a TED Talk on. So Joyelle, this has been so incredible. I hope that everybody gets to hear this message. So, you know, we can learn from each other.
Thank you. Thanks for
All
having
right.
me.
Thank you, my friend. Have an amazing day.